This is the story of a boy who refused to quit. The real story of a true martial artist. This is a story of a boy named John, who learned a martial art called Aikido. He was bullied in school and picked on every day, until one day he met a man who worked at the school as a janitor. His name was Kim Young. Mr. Kim was a master of Aikido. Aikido is a Japanese martial art that was developed in the early 20th century by Morihei Ueshiba. It is a modern martial art that combines elements of other Japanese martial arts such as judo, kendo, and jujitsu. Aikido practitioners seek to harmonize with their attacker's movements and redirect their energy, rather than oppose them directly. This is different from most other martial arts, which teach practitioners to overpower their opponents through brute strength or technique. Aikido is practiced by people of all ages and levels of fitness. It is often used as a form of self-defense, and many practitioners find it to be a peaceful and meditative practice. Now, back to the story. John was having his lunch when suddenly some older kids approached him and started picking on him. They pushed him around and made him feel bad about himself. John was scared, but he tried to ignore them. But they kept coming back day after day. So one day, John had enough. He stood up to them and told them to leave him alone. But the bullies just laughed at him and said that if he wasn't going to give them what they wanted, then he wouldn't get to have any lunch. The bullies took John's lunch and threw it in the garbage. John was furious. He wanted to fight back, but he didn't know how. Then, out of nowhere, Mr. Kim appeared and stopped the bullies. Mr. Kim was a mysterious man who had a black belt in Aikido. He was also the school janitor. No one knew much about him, but all the students respected him. When he spoke, everyone listened. After the bullies ran away, Mr. Kim offered to buy John some more food. And as they walked to the cafeteria together, John told Mr. Kim about the problems he was having. Mr. Kim listened patiently, and when John was finished, he said, "I can help you with your problem. I know a martial art that will teach you how to defend yourself." John was grateful for the offer, but he was skeptical about whether a martial art could really help him. "What's the name of this martial art?" John asked. "Aikido," said Mr. Kim. From that day on, John started training in Aikido, under the guidance of Mr. Kim. The training was hard and often painful. There were days when John wanted to quit, but he knew that if he did, the bullies would win. So he pushed through the pain and the exhaustion and continued to train. Slowly but surely, John began to get better and better at Aikido. He learned how to throw, kick, and punch in a way that was both effective and efficient. Most importantly, he learned how to defend himself against attacks from all angles. As John's skills improved, so did his confidence. He began to believe in himself again, and he was no longer afraid of the bullies. One day, John was practicing with Mr. Kim in the dojo when a group of familiar faces walked in. It was the group of older kids that had been bullying him. They sneered at John and said, well, looky here. If it isn't the little worm, what are you doing here?" John was nervous, but he knew that he had to stand his ground. He had trained for this moment and he was prepared. "I'm here to learn how to defend myself," John said defiantly. The bullies laughed, but before they could make a move, Mr. Kim stepped in front of John. "That's enough," he said sternly. "You have no right to be here. Get out." The bullies were angry, but they knew better than to disobey Mr. Kim. They sneered at John one last time and then left. After they had gone, Mr. Kim turned to John and said, "Remember what I taught you. Be confident, be in control, and never give up." John took a deep breath and nodded. He knew that he had a lot to learn, but he was no longer afraid. He was determined to become a skilled martial artist and to use his skills to help others. And so John continued to train hard, learning all he could from his teacher. With each passing day, he became stronger and more confident. He realized that the true power of Aikido lay not just in its techniques, but in its philosophy of self-improvement and personal growth.